Thankfully, we don't have to wait too much longer before we get baseball action in 2026. As we're recording, we are 26 days away until spring training games. We are 38 days away until the World Baseball Classic. And we are finally sub 60 days until opening day. We got 59 days until opening night. So this is going to be very, very exciting. A little bit more than 2 weeks until pitchers and catchers report, Jeremy. How are you feeling?
I'm just hoping to make it that far, Jacob. I'm hoping this ice storm doesn't take me down.
Yep. I'm absolutely right there with you on it.
It's like the spring felt closer last week when it was in the 50s and 60s, let me tell you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Now, I had to, so we did a simulated underway on the ship that I'm on. So basically,
I went in on icebreaker.
No, it's not. But we went in on Friday morning, stayed the night on the ship, and then most folks left Saturday evening. But I couldn't leave until Sunday noon because I was on duty. And just walking off the ship, and it's sleeting. Yes, I said duty. I am an adult man, and I said duty. Okay. How do you think that makes me feel, Jerry? It's just
wouldn't dare to imagine.
It's just sleeting, and I'm somehow simultaneously walking through snow and puddles at the same time. But meanwhile, like a week ago, we were turning on the AC in the house. Yeah. It was so weird, but here we are. You want to talk about these outfielders now?
Yeah, I reckon we better. Like I was telling you when you were saying maybe we could push that back, and technically looking at the runtime, we could. But we're running out of time because once pitchers and catchers start reporting, we're going to have some stuff to talk about. Oh, the other thing that we forgot to mention, that's just real briefly run it, was David Lesky said the same thing I've been saying for weeks now, which is, the Royals have for 3 years in a row. I've been saying 2. He pointed out it actually goes 3 years deep. Every year that JJ Piccolo has been the primary guy in charge, the Royals have made at least one significant move after late January. So we are in the period now where the Royals have one more significant move to make. I'll tell you, Austin Hayes remains unsigned. Harrison Bader remains unsigned. Trades are still out there. Things could happen in spring training once, pitchers get hurt in spring training. They come back from their off-season workout and they start working up, and boom, there goes the UCL. Bailey Falter, I 100% expect to get traded to somebody who goes, crap, we need a pitcher. And Chris Bubich, if he can show that he is recovered in spring training, I think we'll start to draw more interest, could be dealt. So there's stuff that can happen. This doesn't have to be the final word on the outfield as we begin to get prepared for the 2026 baseball season.
Exactly. And I do think that I was pondering this after we were talking about it earlier on, and John Schreiber kept on popping up in my mind, not just because he was a acquisition that fit this mold when they traded for him from the Boston Red Sox, but I mean, he's a guy right now that if they really need to shed this payroll, I think that he could be a guy who gets moved from the Royals for some prospect help.
They've even made the comparison that Nick Mears and John Schreiber have a lot in common as far as results, not in how they get them, but in terms of what kinds of results they get. So it's like, do you really need both of those guys in your bullpen? I mean, I don't hate the idea of having both of those guys in their bullpen, but if they're like, man, we need $4 million more to get Harrison Bader to fill out the rest of this outfield, which, by the way, didn't care for Harrison Bader at the beginning of the offseason. Whatever price he's going to get now seems significantly lower than it would have taken to get him then. And if you're adding him to the outfield mix that you have, rather than as the big acquisition that solves everything, I do like him. So if you're like, man, just get that $4 million off the books, Harrison Bader comes in and we're good to go, then do it for sure. I'm sorry, John. I've enjoyed your time. I've enjoyed you a lot more than a lot of other Royals fans have. I will be sad to see you go, but if we can lose you and add an outfielder of Harrison Bader's caliber, I'll take it.
Yeah, I don't think that trading John Schreiber would be a lightly considered move from the Royals, especially with how Q has deployed him.
They're not going to do it just to do it, but it is easily a move that they can do if they're like, just give me that $4 million and we can make this other thing happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And man, if for nothing else, I would love for a right-handed relief spot to get opened up on the opening day roster for Avila to stick in
Yeah.
the big league bullpen. He was so fun to watch
I
last
still
year.
want to see one more left-handed reliever too. So
I think they kind of need it, at least to be comfortable in that role or
mhm.
in that spot. But we'll see what they do. Like Lesky said, verbatim. Don't discount any moves happening over the next 2 or 3 weeks. I know it seems like most of the offseason dominoes have fallen, but they're still
This
out
is
there.
a point I tried to make on Thursday that I think I kind of left behind as I got more into the economics. Everyone was saying the Mets offseason is a disaster. What are the Mets
Yeah,
doing? And then 1 week later, boom, 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 they had a great offseason. So
right.
you can't give up yet. The
No,
offseason ain't over. This
no.
is not NFL free agency where if you don't get your guy in the first couple of days, you don't get him.
Yeah. Certainly the A tier is off the board for the most part, but
Yeah.
there's still quite a bit of B
There's
tier folks out there.
Ramon Laureano is a name that keeps coming up that
Yeah.
if the Padres were interested in doing another deal with the Royals, that could be really interesting. You
Yeah.
know, we'll have there's stuff out there still. The guys off the market aren't the guys the Royals were going to get.
Precisely.
But it means that the guys that the Royals are interested in might finally get moved.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
I'm sure, like, if the Padres they're like, we do want to trade Ramon Laureano. Well, then they've been sitting there going, they're sitting there probably with the Yankees going, well, we're trying to get Cody Bellinger. If we don't get Bellinger, we'll take Laureano and we'll give you a really good deal. You know,
Yeah.
So they got to wait till, oh, nope, Cody Bellinger's gone. All right, who do we still have that wants Laureano?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. So, all right, you ready to move on to outfielders now?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, sounds like a plan. So if you're new to this, right now we are ranking our top 15 Royals outfielders. We still have starting pitchers and relief pitchers separately to come up in later episodes. Like Jeremy said, that clock is ticking, so we got to get those in. But right now we're on the outfielders. Just for everyone's awareness, Nick Lofton and Tyler Tolbert qualify in our parameters as outfielders rather than infielders. That's where they played the most in 2025 at the major league level. So that is where that's where they're falling for these rankings. Jeremy, would you mind starting us off with your top Royals outfielder? It's a pretty shallow option.
I don't mind at all. We're going to get into controversy, I think, right away when it comes to the outfielders. I think we had a pretty good consensus at the top of first base, catcher, and infield. With outfielders, I have no idea where you're going to rank them. I'm not even necessarily 100% sure that I've ranked anybody where I really think they should be. But the number one most important outfielder in the Royal system for me is Jack Caglianone, baby.
He's at the top of mine as well, Jeremy.
All right. Because if he can hit, the Royals are well on their way to a division win and a playoff berth. If he can't, things get a lot harder. It's not impossible for them to make the playoffs without him hitting, but it gets a lot harder. I believe in the upside more than the downside with Jack Caglianone. I think the fact that as much as he struggled last year, I think this has been discounted. He struggled a lot last year. He still put up 7 bombs, okay? The power was still there to some degree. And I think we're going to see even more of that this year. I've seen some people predicting 30 bombs for him. I think he'll hit that easy. I would take the over on a 30 bomb prediction every day of the week, twice on Monday. So
yeah.
That's where I'm at. Is I do think he is the most important and also the most talented probably outfielder that the Royals have. I'm very excited to see what he looks like in spring training.
Yes, yeah. In that nice hot Arizona air, the ball is absolutely going to fly off of his bat. He's going to be a very exciting guy to watch. Yeah, he's my top guy, especially when you come to the most important. That is, at the end of the day, he is your opening day right fielder if he is healthy. The most expectations lie on his shoulders. He is supposed to be this running mate to Bobby Witt Jr., even more so than Vinny, even more so than Michael. Like, he is supposed to be all these things. Now 2026, we want him to be those things. We saw the red hot Jack Caglianone in AA and in AAA in 2025. He faltered when it came to the big leagues. The expected numbers were much better, albeit still not perfect. Now Now that he has a year of being in the outfield under his belt, now is the bat going to come along a little bit more? We just have to wait and see. But I think that undoubtedly the most important outfielder for these Kansas City Royals is Jack Caglianone. So he's on top of both of our lists. Now getting on to number 2, I have everyone's least favorite center fielder, Kyle Isbell, because like we talk about most important, who's the most consistent outfielder for the Royals over the past 3-4 years. It is center fielder Kyle Isbell playing Gold Glove caliber defense there in center field. The bat has never come along. He has consistently been a below average batter by a wide margin. And, you know, he's a guy that I'm happy having bat ninth more nights than not. He brings his value in a different manner. And I think he does so at such a high level in a very shallow outfield pool. That's why I got Isbell at number 2.
I have Isbell at number 3. Just to add to what you've said, I do think he has a sneaky chance to have a really good 26. The walls are coming in. He has a high fly ball rate. So if you're improving the run value of fly balls, he should benefit there. But also, I think he's going to see less left-handed pitching than ever with Lane Thomas in the fold, who is going to show up later in our list. WAR is a counting stat, but it's a weird counting stat because it can also go backwards. And yes, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I don't know how I would calculate them, but I would bet money he had a negative WAR against left-handed pitching last year. So if you can limit his at-bats against left-handed pitching, his value goes up for the fact that he's not creating negative value.
Yeah.
So I like I said, I have him 3rd, but I've always thought he was perfectly cromulent, number 9 guy, and with his defense, and I think he could be maybe even a little bit better in 20.
I agree.
My number 2 guy is probably your number 3 guy now. Is it Collins?
Yep.
So he's the switch hitter that the Royals acquired from the Brewers. We've been over this all before. He's got elite chase rates. Some people think he might regress, but one thing I think people are discounting is that he was 4th in National League Rookie of the Year voting last year. He was very good. He can regress and still be a very useful outfielder for the Royals, okay? Especially compared to what they were running out there last year. They had, I think in left field, they totaled -3 WAR in left field.
Yeah,
he should add 4 wins. Even if he's not good, he should add 4 wins in left field.
Yeah, that he should.
You add 4 wins to this team, it's a playoff contender.
Right. And I think that, you know, Collins had a very, very good 2025. He's a late bloomer. That was his age 27 season. You know, the Royals did what a hopeful contender should do. They should add for present value rather than banking on potential value.
It sounds like you listened to my podcast on Thursday.
Yeah, there you go. See, I like Collins. That's why he's number 3 on my list. I am certainly worried about regression to the average for him. But like you said, Jeremy, even if that happens, he is an improvement. He is an upgrade. He's probably more of an upgrade than folks are giving him credit for, myself included. But he should be the primary left fielder for the Kansas City Royals, especially considering he's a switch hitter.
I did have a tinfoil hat theory about him that I came up with yesterday, Jacob. People talked about his slump in September, and if you look at it, it's really just like the last 2 weeks where, admittedly, he didn't hit at all. But even the 2 weeks before that, like, he wasn't good, but he was passable. And then he didn't play in the playoffs. And after playing so well all year, to hit such a small slump and then be taken off the field, I wonder if he wasn't hurt and they just weren't talking about it.
Could be.
I think that might explain some of the stuff that happened with him. And obviously, he's following his hitting coach over here who really believes that what he was doing was repeatable. So I have very high hopes for Isaac Collins.
There you
go.
So
then my number 3, like I said, was Kyle Isbell. So my number 4, who's probably your number 4, Lane Thomas.
Yep, sure is.
So he's a lefty masher with speed and defense as long as he rebounds from his injury last year, which is admittedly a big if, but I think it's a worthwhile gamble by the Royals. I've got an article, I think, coming out tomorrow morning, might already be out by the time you're listening to this, where I talk about, I kind of expand a little bit on what I said on Thursday and talk about risks in baseball and how some teams aren't taking them and some teams are. And I think the Royals are taking a few more risks than other teams. The Lane Thomas deal is a little bit of a risk, but it's a good risk. And it's one that, hey, if it doesn't work, it's gonna hurt them. But it's only going to hurt them for next year, and it gives them an opportunity. If it works, it makes things a lot easier for trying to get back to the playoffs. So I'm excited. Lane Thomas is another guy I really look forward to seeing in spring training and see, does he look healthy? Does he look like he can go back to doing what he's done in his whole career until last year?
Yeah, I think it's easy to forget that he was a Cardinal first. That's where he broke on the major league scene. Cardinals, Nationals, and then Guardians, now the Royals. Yeah, I think that this was a perfectly acceptable free agent flyer, I would call it, for the Royals, because the fact of the matter is, like, you take flyers on minor league free agents, right? You add guys like Josh Rojas and Abraham Toro, but they don't have the same potential MLB impact as a healthy Lane Thomas does, as the Lane Thomas that we saw in 2023 and 2024. Can he find that in a very specific role for the Kansas City Royals? I think he can if he's healthy, and it should be, if all the cards fall right, like, this is a strong platoon option all across the outfield. I had a piece come out for the other site talk about, hey, like, Lane Thomas should see a lot of action simply for this fact. The fact that he could play all three outfield spots, at least competently, not like above average, but he can hold it down. It should keep his bat in the lineup and should see opportunities come his way.
And he gives you a right-handed bat against lefties to replace any one of your three outfielders. He gives you some insurance if any of those three outfielders really struggle or are hurt. He's a really good signing. I still think they need one more outfielder to really just make sure they 100% have the depth they need to cover all cases, but I also think they're going to get there, so we'll see. But Lane Thomas, I'm excited to have in the fold.
Yep, I am as well. So that was my number 4 as well. Moving on down to number 5. This is where I have the utility guys come in, and Nick Lofton.
Okay.
This might be a little high on him, I will say.
I have him at 8th.
You have him, yeah. So I'm a little bullish on Nick Lofton.
I think there are reasons to be bullish on him.
Well, and this is primarily coming in. He can also play the infield, and he plays all spots.
7th, sorry.
Well, he plays all the spots well. 2025 was a batting year for him to forget, and frankly, we haven't seen him be an above average batter since 2023. Really, he was starting to rise a little bit in the expected numbers, at least to league average, as the season was coming to an end. And we talk about guys who pull the ball in the air. Lofton did that plenty in 2025. It was a sharp increase from 2024. And he was about 6 percentage points above league average in pull air. Like, that's supposed to be the next up and coming metric for success at the plate.
And Kauffman now benefits that more than ever.
Exactly. So I'm looking forward to him in 2026. I don't think he is going to see as much action as he did in even 2025, but I don't know. He has a path to that, at least.
And we've talked about carrying tools before. He doesn't chase. He had like a 450 something OBP at AAA last year. If he could even get that up to 380 as a part-time player in the big leagues, he'd have a long career. So it's maybe the hitting coach changes will help him. But yeah, I have him 7th.
Who do you have in at 5th then?
Number 5, I have Cameron Meisner.
All right. Where do I have Cameron Meisner at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got him at 8th. So there you go.
Basically flipped him.
Yeah.
Basically, my thing is Cam Meisner has tools. He has really good tools. He's got some speed. He's got some power. His defense isn't great. His problem is his hit tool. So let's get him in here with our new hitting coaches. If our new hitting coaches are as good as we hope they are, and I legitimately have high hopes, Jacob. I might be drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit, but I have high hopes for what our hitting coaches are going to be able to do. And if Cam Meisner can figure a little something out with them and turn into be able to access that power tool and that speed tool more, he could become a legitimate star player. Maybe not a star, but a starter. And to have him on a minor league deal and ready to step in, I'm excited. Another guy I'm watching in spring training, Jacob. I'm watching a lot of guys in spring training.
Yeah, as we all should be. Meisner is going to be a guy who he's already on the 40-man roster. I fully expect him to get time in Kansas City. I do have concerns that there are a lot of parallels between him and Joey Weimer, who came over in that Brady Singer trade. So, like, that's why I'm a little bit more bearish on him.
Yeah. And I was more excited about Joey than I should have been, too. So take what I have to say about Meisner with a little grain of salt for that reason.
If I will say this, if Isbell goes down or if Isbell is traded, which is absolutely a possibility, I think Meisner is a good glove first player to supplant him if push comes to shove. Yes, his defense is very good.
I misspoke then. I thought his defense was kind of meh.
No, his defense is good. He had 3 outs above average and limited playing time in 2025.
Yeah, because he didn't play much at all.
No, 79th percentile in arms value, 85th percentile in arm strength and center field with above average speed.
Maybe he platoons with Lane Thomas if they I mean, all these guys could platoon with Lane Thomas, but he is also a left-handed outfielder.
Right. Let's see. So that was your number 5.
That was my number 5. So
who's your number 6?
What about
my number 5? My number 5 was Nick Lofton.
My number 6, I'm reaching maybe a little bit again. Carson Rocafort.
Ooh, that's a number 6.
Yeah, I'm excited about this kid, Jacob. He has done nothing but hit, including in AA last year as a 23-year-old, and that's young for that level. You know, I like to highlight that he's young for the level of AA at 23. Could see him in 26.
Yes.
If he keeps hitting, he should be in AAA pretty quick. They don't have any outfield depth. I mean, beyond the guys that we already know about who they offer a certain floor, but no ceiling.
Yeah.
He's got some ceiling to him. He could be a guy who might move fast through the system this year if he keeps going.
The secret is out. With millions of younger-looking customers across the country, Plexiderm is one of the most highly sought-after products on the market. It visibly shrinks under eye bags and smooths out crow's feet in minutes, and the effects last up to 10 hours. Influencers love it, magazines feature it, and people just can't get enough of it. As a matter of fact, Elle Magazine gave it an Editor's Choice Award as Best Instant Wrinkle Filler for 2025. In as little as 10 minutes, Plexiderm reduces the appearance of fine lines, wrinkles, and those dreaded under-eye bags. So yes, you can look years younger in minutes, and the effects last for hours. No surgery, no gimmicks, just results. The best news, you can try Plexiderm for only $14.95. Plus, get free shipping. Don't wait. Order Plexiderm today. Visit plexiderm.com/special. That's plexiderm.com/special. Paid for by Sheer Science.
Need parts fast? O'Reilly Auto Parts has fast. Need them now? We've got now. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. We're O'Reilly Fast. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I need to find some video on him and see how his swing actually looks instead of just looking at the numbers. But the numbers tell me the story of a guy that I am very excited to see what he can do for Kansas City in the near future. Did he show up on your list?
Yeah, he's 9th on my list. He's a little bit further down just simply because we haven't seen him at AAA yet. And, you know, Rockford too, I talked about this a little bit with Luca Tresh, a catching prospect with the Royals. Had momentum, had a couple of good years at the plate, then one bad year, and the trajectory just never recovered, even though he had good years after that. I think Rockford is a little similar to that. He had a rougher year in high A in 24, and 25 absolutely on fire in the field and at the plate. It was awesome. I think that he should start the season in AAA, and I want to see how he handles pitching there. There's still a huge gap between AAA and the big leagues, and I need to see him be able to handle that before I really get on the not on the bandwagon, but like start pushing the bandwagon, if that makes sense.
He gets a little shine in my eyes because I also know that friend of the podcast, Preston Farr.
Preston Farr loves him.
Yeah, he loves him, and I put a lot of weight behind what Preston has to say.
As he should.
Between those two things, like I said, I'm going to look up some video on him later. I should have done it before this podcast if I, prepared like I should. But I really like what I'm seeing from him. I'm very excited for his future in Kansas City.
If you need kind of brackets to put Carson Rockford in, imagine Kyle Isbell, one step back with the glove, but two steps forward with the bat.
Sold. Take him right now. Yeah. Put him in right now. Let's go. I also saw he did get a steamer projection, and maybe not a steamer, not a Zips projection.
Yes, he did.
For 26, and he was projected at like a 76 WRC plus as a 24-year-old with no AAA, no MLB experience. That's not a bad projection. The steamer kind of likes him, I think.
Yeah. Moving on to my number 6, a guy that we saw in Kansas City who I liked for what he did, and I think that he is going to get opportunities again. John Rave. He did good things with the glove. He's a lot faster than folks give him credit for. He's a lot faster than people give him credit for.
Fast for some reason.
He doesn't. I don't know what it is. He's heading into his age 28 season. Got the first looks at big league pitching, and what we talk about with all these bats that the Royals have acquired or are prioritizing heading into 2026. He does not chase. Even as an inexperienced MLB batter, he did not chase. His bat speed was also really good, very high above league average. So can he take some lessons learned? Can he take some momentum that he had in swing decisions later on in the season and make quality contact? We'll see what happens there, but I think he's going to factor into the Royals' plans a lot more than people give him credit for.
Yeah, probably. I have him at 11th on mine, and he is 100% a guy that you look to see. Can the hitting coaches help him? If the hitting coaches can help him, we're going places. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, he makes those choices. Now you just got to find success when you've made the right choice. And that was something that's basically Isaac Collins. Is that upside is Isaac Collins, what Isaac Collins did last year of, man, he doesn't chase, doesn't hit it real hard, but he hits it hard enough and he hits it good. He barrels it. He doesn't hit it hard, but he does hit it as hard as he can. Correct. On a consistent basis. So if you can turn John Rave into Isaac Collins while you still have Isaac Collins, that could help. That could really help the outfield situation.
It absolutely would.
So yeah, that was your number 6. Who's your 7?
My 7 is Tyler Tolbert, the other utility guy. And this is, I just talked about Rave's speed. Baseball Savant has Rave and Tolbert at the exact same sprint speed, 28.9 feet per second. So that gives you a good barometer for Rave speed. But Tolbert, he is the base stealing specialist for the Royals right now. That was Dairon Blanco, but Blanco's injuries and kind of ineffectiveness in AAA really let Tolbert have a good run in Kansas City. Only 57 plate appearances, but 21 stolen bases. A guy who he can play multiple positions. Some of his expected numbers were better. However, in really flying in the face of a lot of guys we talked about, he does chase the ball a little bit more than the average MLB batter, much more than the average Royals batter. So is that going to limit his ceiling in Kansas City? And it probably will, but he's not a thumper. He's known for his speed. So I think that he is going to come off the bench and be that base stealing specialist for the Royals.
He was your number 7?
Yeah, he was my number 7.
The only thing I wanted to add on him is that one of the things that stands out in his favor is he didn't ever seem overwhelmed. There were a couple of times where he got pinch ran for Salvi or Vinny and then ended up coming up to the plate because somebody's got a bat late in close contests and got the hit or got a walk, did what he needed to do. So that stands out as a quality in his favor as well. I have Nick Lofton, number 7. I have Tyler Tolbert, number 8. And you said your 8 was Meisner.
Yep, my 8 was Meisner. Rockefort was 9.
All right, so my 9 is Sean Gamble.
Okay, wow, all right.
He was the first draft pick that the Royals made in the last draft. Very athletic, highly rated IMG Academy out there in Iowa. I didn't play in pro ball yet, so I don't have a lot to say. That we have learned nothing since he was drafted.
Yeah,
but this is a state of the Royals farm system is that he comes in as the 9th most important outfielder for me, simply by virtue of having been the first pick that they made in the last draft. I have hopes for him. I don't know that they're high. They're not low. When I see Sean Gamble, I think Kyle Isbell. I don't think that's fair. There's no reason for me to do that other than he's a left-handed guy who plays second and is expected to actually move to the outfield, which is what Kyle Isbell did.
That's true.
So I think that's holding me back on Sean Gamble, that comparison that doesn't need to be there, but that's where I'm at.
Okay. That's fair. I don't have Gamble on these rankings.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm not bearish on him, but like I want to see him play.
Sure.
I'm sure he was in the instructs for the Royals, but we haven't seen him at affiliated ball yet, which is not uncommon for a prep player coming out of the draft. We'll definitely see him debut in 26. He just wasn't a guy that like I was in love with in the draft process. That just comes down to my personal taste. I've heard about the power. I haven't seen the power. I need to see that in affiliated ball before I really get on the bandwagon. That is a guy I'm not on the bandwagon for.
I think we're both kind of where we're like, for a first pick in the draft, he's a little underwhelming for us.
Yeah, exactly.
But hopefully the Royals prove us wrong. The drafts have looked significantly better the last couple of years. So let's see what happens, I guess.
Yeah.
So that brings us to your number 10.
Yes. Yeah. So Meisner was my 8. Rockford was my 9. My number 10 is a guy who I don't think is going to be in Kansas City for much longer, but with his current status, it's hard to discount him completely, is Drew Waters.
He did not make my list.
I'm not surprised by that. This was, at the end of the day, Waters is in a position right now to where, let's say there were 2 injuries above him on the depth chart, he would probably make the opening day roster for the Royals
as the 5th outfielder. Yes.
Yeah, as the 5th outfielder. Not optimal. Probably not going to happen.
You'd first call up Meisner, I think.
Yeah, I think so. You'd first call up Meisner, and then at that point you would keep Rave, I think. But there's a path for Waters at that point. Ultimately, unfounded potential in the Royal system. Had a great start in 2022, just hasn't come to fruition since then.
And I'd give him like an 80% chance to get he's doesn't have any options left, so he's going to hit waivers by the end of spring training, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that he is.
Because there's just no room for him on the big league roster.
Right, and I would be more optimistic about Waters if he hadn't struggled at AAA too last year. He did not look good in Omaha either, so I don't think he's going to be long in the tooth in a Royals uniform. But yeah, I still got him at number 10. Who do you have at number 10?
I have Asbel Gonzalez.
All right.
He actually weirdly held his own in a cup of coffee, a handful of games in AA at 18 years old. And then last year, he was an average hitter in A-ball at 19, which is young for the level. He's highly ranked and he walks a lot, doesn't strike out much. So, I love my plate discipline, especially in the lower levels. Everybody's got tools in the lower levels. Show me you can access those tools, and I start to get a little bit more interested.
Well, Jeremy, what's that tool that he accessed in low A? That eye-popping number.
Was he the stolen bases guy?
78 stolen bases in 115 games for the Columbia Fireflies. Not a lot of power, but he got on base and he took those extra bases when the opportunity arose.
And when you've got speed like him, and it's kind of like Bobby Witt Jr. light, Bobby Witt Jr. would still be maybe not quite an MVP caliber player, but he would be close if he didn't have any power. Adding the power is what makes him a perennial MVP candidate. So if Asbel Gonzalez has the OBP and the base stealing ability, well, a walk turns into a double.
Right. That it does. So we'll see. I think he goes back to low A in 26. We'll see what happens there. I had him at 15 on my list, just simply because of the hit and power tools. Like he can draw a walk. The power isn't there, and I'm not 100% certain the hit tool is there either. But I got him on the list at least at 15. Very good fielder, very good on the bases. So I think he'll find his way up the system. Let's see here. That was your 10. Who do you have at 11?
John Rave is who I had at 11.
Oh, that's right. At 11, I got another guy who I don't know what his outlook is in 2026, but he's still on the 40-man. So it's hard to discount him. Dairon Blanco.
Mm-hmm.
Late bloomer with the age coming over from Cuba always really complicates matters for some players. And, Dairon Blanco, he's had good moments for the for the
We'll
Royals.
always
I
have
think
Cincinnati
we will always have that
on the yellow
Cincinnati game.
crayon.
Yes, that just a great trivia bit. But he didn't look good in 25. Injuries really threw him off from the word go. So, and Jeremy, you said you're going to be watching a lot of folks in spring training. He's over 30. If he wants to make an impact with the Royals, 26 to 27 is when he needs to do it. So I need him to have a strong start to the season. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I had him at number 12. He's never had the ability to play defense. The hit tool shows up very inconsistently. He doesn't have much power. He doesn't have no power, but he doesn't have much power.
Correct.
So if he's not stealing bases, he's basically not offering anything. And the Royals have Tyler Tolbert, who I think has more upside to just steal bases. For that matter, Lane Thomas is pretty fast and able to steal bases, assuming he's healthy. So I'm just not sure there's room for Dairon Blanco. I have him at number 12 on my list.
I think he would be a perfectly fine guy to trade away just for anything. If you can find a trade partner, just move on, get him some playing time.
Because I'm not even sure he's a guy you really want to call up to fill in for injuries, honestly.
Yeah. Like at that point, just move on.
Yeah.
Just move along. Let him go be some other team's base stealing guy, and let him like these are his playing years right now.
Yeah.
So you had him at 12, and let's see, we already did your 11. So I guess we'll go on to my 12.
Yeah.
And the guy we haven't named yet, former first round pick, left eligible in the Rule 5 draft, had a really strong closeout to Double-A. Yep, Gavin Cross. I think this is he's still firmly in bust category, but at the end of the day, he is still very talented. David Lesky has pointed out, man, it shows up in spurts. Gavin Cross can do it in all facets of the game in spurts. Can he do it consistently? And the next test is going to be Triple-A. Like he didn't look perfect in Double-A, but I think he's a guy at this age, at this draft pedigree, where you just have to move him up. And you just have to see what he does in Triple-A.
What I will say is that the overall numbers didn't look good. But when I went and looked at it kind of on a month-by-month basis, he was bad in April. He was disastrous in May.
It was bad. It was really bad.
Never seen a season that a stat line as bad as what he had in May. But then from June on, he had a 130 WRC plus or higher for the rest of the year, which is good. That's very good. So if he'd had that the whole year, we'd be singing a completely different song about him right now, I think. So I think you're right. I think he needs to start the year in Triple-A. And if he keeps hitting, there's a right-handed bat you can call up if you need it.
He is lefty. He's a lefty.
Oh, he's a lefty? Dadgummit.
Yeah.
I forgot that. My bad. Well, sorry, Gavin. There's probably not a lot of room for you to play, even if you do good, because you just haven't shown enough to be like, well, that guy should get playing time over all these other guys. But I had him number 13. I really would like to see him debut. I feel like he could be like a Rooker, a John Rooker, Brent Rooker.
Brent Rooker?
Not John Rooker, John Rocker.
John Rave. John Rave and Brent Rooker blend.
Yeah. Brent Rooker, except Brent Rooker did have a little bit of success early on in his big league career and then kind of fell off and came back again. I feel like Gavin Cross could have that very late bloomer path to him because the talent is obvious. Like you don't get a 130 WRC plus for 4 or 5 months without some talent in the Double-A level. But accessing it consistently has been a problem. He'll show up somewhere eventually. I don't know how good or how long a career he'll have.
Yep. We shall see what happens. All right. Who do you have at 12 again? He was my 12.
Dairon Blanco was my 12.
Dairon Blanco was your 12. You had Cross at 13. So I got another one at 13. Sorry, man.
No, you're good. Let's go.
My number 13 is a guy who I took a lengthy look at this past week, and I'm like, gosh dang it, I'm starting to like him more and more. Creighton product Nolan Sailors.
Well, I don't have him on my list.
Yeah,
I don't remember even looking at him.
So Sailors really hit the ground running in affiliated ball. He went right to high A, one of the few Royals 2025 draftees to do that. He stole 17 bases in 32 games for the River Bandits. It was the second most amongst in the draft class who made their professional debut. I mean, 283 batting average, 412 on base percentage. He can really work a walk. He can put the ball in play, and he doesn't put it over the fence a lot, but he does have good speed that can turn some singles into doubles. I think I saw him turn like a bloop hit to right field into a double. Like when you have that much speed and you could do that and have confidence in doing that, that's going to show up to me. He feels like a good Royals prospect. He is just grinds out at bats. He is going to take that free base and get in a scoring position to keep the line moving. I like him. He primarily played left field at Creighton. They moved him to center field in high A, and he looked good. He doesn't feel like as strong of a prospect as Gonzalez or Rockefort does, but I didn't feel that strong about Rockefort when he was coming out of the draft, and look at where he is now. Yeah. Sailors could be on a similar trajectory. I like him. I really like him.
I love those walk numbers. 15% walk rate in high A at 21. His first really taste of pro ball action. Yeah. And didn't strike out much either, only 21.1%. So, and the strikeout rate, I'm looking, sometimes they have their college numbers on Fangraphs now too. They have his college numbers. That strikeout rate was coming down every year while he was in college. That's good stuff. That's a good catch. Yeah, I'm glad you caught him.
Who do you got at 13?
Again, at 13, I got Gavin Cross.
Yeah. Who you got at 14?
14, I've got Spencer Nivens.
Yeah, I got him at 14 too.
Oh, and my only note I have here is that he was exceptionally mid in AA as a 23-year-old.
He was,
which is a little young for AA. So give him a bump for that. But I just don't see anything that stands out to me as like that's a guy I'm excited about. It's just he's a name that consistently comes up. He hasn't been awful. And honestly, in 24, he was very good in high A at 22, which is right around the age, maybe a little old for that level. Doesn't swing and miss a ton. I don't know. I'm just looking at his numbers and I go,
Yeah, I completely understand that. Missouri State alum, easy guy for Royals fans, especially to cheer for, being a local guy. 5th round pick in 2023, if you're not aware of that. Yeah, mid is a good way to describe his overall taste for his first season in AA, mind you. 97 WRC plus across the entire season. However, another very slow starter. He looked from June on, which is still a healthy, good chunk of the season.
Yeah.
He had a 112 WRC plus. Like
that's not bad.
Yeah, that's much better. Double digits in stolen bases as well. He has a solid blend of speed and power in putting it over the fence. Now I need that power to show up in just overall extra base hits. Yeah. I don't know what it was, but it seemed like it was either a home run or a single for him. I think he's a guy who benefits.
6 home runs.
Right. I think he's a guy who benefits from the Royals not having a strong outfield prospect crop. I don't think he would be getting the push that he is getting right now, but he's heading into his age 24 season, so we'll see what happens from him there. But yeah, I got him at 14.
He's certainly not aged out yet, even as a 24-year-old. If he repeats AA, he's got a chance. If he explodes AA, he's got a chance to get back on the radar.
Yes, that he does.
If he's just fine or just good in AA as he repeats the level, that's going to really crash his prospect status. You said you had him at 14 also?
Yes. So, right. And I had Gonzalez at 15. So who do you have at 15?
All right. So at 15, I have Angel Gomez.
Ooh, okay. That's a deep cut.
Yeah. Oh, that's the guy they just led their international free agent class with. Again, hasn't played in pro ball yet. But man, everyone's excited about him. I'm excited to see what he can do. So he just made the edge of my list, and then I've got 3 honorable mentions here, I guess.
All right, who do you got for your honorable mentions? I didn't even add those.
Yeah, I just kind of what I did was what I decided to do this time was I did this a little differently. I usually go through and I rank as I go. This time I just put as many names on here as I felt like I might want to talk about, and then I ranked them. And so I ended up with 18 names I wanted to talk about and still missed Nolan Sailors, which is a bummer. I had Rony Cabrera, who has been destroying in DSL and complex league teams, but he did fall apart in his first taste of A-ball, but he was only 19. Yep. So we'll see if he can bounce back from that. I've got Raimel Medina, who destroyed the DSL in 2024, but he struggled with injuries while trying to play in the complex league in 25. And then I've got Daniel Lopez, who cratered in high A as a 20-year-old, which is not young enough in high A for you to crater, but he's ranked 16th in the org by Fangraphs, so I added him to my list, but then he fell all the way to the very bottom because I just looked at those numbers and I'm like, why is he ranked?
Yeah. Why are you here again? Yeah, I think there is one guy who there are so many guys that are going to fall through the cracks because they're minor league additions or they're minor league free agents. Two guys that I'm like, these probably never going to play for the Royals, but might have moments for the affiliated guys. Connor Scott, I think he was a former first. Yeah, he was a 2018 first rounder for the Miami Marlins. He's bounced from the Marlins to Pittsburgh to Milwaukee, and he played 8 games for the Naturals last season. He did all right in that abbreviated stint. I'm not going to put any weight into it. And then Alberto Rodriguez, who is a former top 10 prospect for the Mariners. The Royals signed him to a minor league deal this year as well. So we'll see what they do. I'm sure they'll get some opportunity, especially in camp on the minor league end. We might see them as some late spring training replacements.
One last tidbit about Ronny Cabrera is he is the other guy who came with Cole Reagans in the Chapman trade. So if he turns into anything, that trade is already like an all-timer for the Royals. If he turns into anything.
Yeah. So folks, that's our outfield ranking right there. Appreciate you listening in on that. Jeremy, we are very, very far over our runtime. Do you have a 30-second review for us?
Well, I was just going to real quick ask, are we doing starting pitchers or relief pitchers next time?
I think we should do starting pitchers next time.
Cool. 30-second review. I binged the last 3 episodes of Silo Season 2 last night.
Oh, nice.
Just trying to make it through my second or third panic attack of the day. It was good. I'm looking forward to the 3rd season. Once again, we have twists at the very end that I absolutely did not see coming. And I'm like, boy, I can't wait for the next season. I'm so glad that this series has a planned ending and everyone's on board for it. This is when it's going to end. This is what we need to finish everything by, which I think is a thing that's plagued shows like Lost, where it's like, well, when is it ever going to end? Oops, we went past when the ending we might have known what to do with made sense. Now we have to make up a new ending. So I always appreciate a series that knows how to finish a story.
There you go.
Hopefully that's what it'll do. If they give me another giant twist at the end of season 4, whenever that comes out, I'm going to lose my mind. But I really enjoyed this show. Highly recommend it for anybody who kind of likes that genre of TV.
Yeah, there you go. My 30-second review is over a mobile game. It's Retro Bowl College Football. Retro Bowl it's from this developer. This is kind of their shtick. They got old school 8-bit games, but one of the as fun and as nostalgia as those games are, they're increasingly shallow when you go back and play them. What I like about Retro Bowl is they build upon that and they address that. So it's college football and it's very simple to jump in and play at any time, but there are ways where you can really take control of your team. And so I enjoy it. They have tennis and soccer and NFL, but I like college football better. So that is my review for today. And Jeremy, we got to get on out of here, friend.
Yeah, my dog is telling me we got to go outside, and I'm like, do we really have to?
Yeah,
he's like, I gotta pee, man. I gotta.
Literally call of the wild. So, folks, we're going to go ahead and get on out of here. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you subscribe or follow the podcast wherever you're listening to us at. We appreciate you sticking around for a longer episode today. We will stay in your podcast feed one way or another, and you can always find the episodes on royalsreview.com along with the great work that goes on from the team over there. Once again, I'm Jacob Milham. There, Jeremy Greco. Thank you so much for joining us today, and until next time, go Royals. Go donate.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.